I'm Alex Massialas, Team USA men's foil, out here in London with the Leon Paul guys.
So you've been to 2 Olympics, Rio or London. Which was your favourite?
You know, you always have a special spot in your heart for the first Olympic Games you go to. So London obviously holds a special spot for me, but to go to Rio and win a silver medal and then a bronze in the team event with, you know, this team I've fenced with for so long, to have all my friends and family there who, you know, who've been supporting me since the very beginning, you know, just to know that I made everyone proud and you really fenced my heart out that day, those 2 days actually. Rio has to be, you know, my favorite, you know. But hopefully going on to the future, my goal was always to win gold at the Olympic Games, so maybe we'll make Tokyo my favorite coming on next.
Tokyo, here we come, replacing the Samba spirit. Okay, I like it. When you started out fencing, how old were you?
I was 7 years old.
You were 7 years old. And then from then, how often would you say you fenced in the first couple of years and compared to how much you fence now?
Sure. I mean, when I first started, I just did our regular program, you know, beginner program 2-3 times a week, usually around 3 times a week, 1 or 2 lessons a week as well. So my father never wanted to burn any of his younger fencers out or any of his fencers in general out, you know. He thought that 3 times a week is, you know, perfect. You know, you're in the fencing gym 3 times a week. That's enough to build a lot of skills, but not enough to really fatigue your body too much and burn you out, especially because when you're younger, that leaves you a lot more time for other activities as well, you know. Part of being a great fencer is being well balanced, and you know, as you get older, obviously you want to focus more on one sport and, you know, doing weight training to supplement it as well. But as a kid, it's really good to, you know, go out there and try different sports too, you know. When I was younger, I was an avid basketball player, soccer player, swimmer, skier, you know. I did so many different sports, and being able to have that time, you know, by not having to fence every single day and having a coach that understood that, you know, cross-training and having a balance to your schedule is actually really beneficial. Actually, I think helped me at the younger ages, you know, because I wasn't focused on fencing as my only thing. I had time to play basketball and soccer and, you know, develop other muscle groups and, you know, go out there and also figure out how much I really loved fencing, because I had tried everything else. And, you know, as much as I love basketball, I still play to this day, you know, recreationally. Fencing is still obviously the #1 sport for me, you know, the sport I love to do the most. And going out there and, you know, seeing these other opportunities and enjoying the different sports and different teams you're part of, not only gives you a more appreciation for these other sports and just, you know, sports in general, actually gives you a greater appreciation for fencing too, because you realize, like, as much as I love everything else, the reason why I love fencing is these reasons, and that's why, you know, my #1 sport is always going to be fencing. And I think that just really helped me grow as early on as a young fencer.
And nowadays, you would say that you have at this level, obviously you're fencing every single day? Yeah,
I mean, maybe not you obviously have to take rest days too, you know. You can't be going 7 days a week with no rest, because your body will, you know, fatigue and you'll burn out. But, you know, you definitely kick it up a notch. 5-6 days a week of fencing, and then also 3-4 times a week of physical training as well. So, you know, so many times you're going to have to do 2-a-days. And, you know, even though it's hard, that's part of the process, and that's kind of why you love it too, you know. It takes a special kind of person to really love the process of going out and, you know, working your tail off and trying to be the best you can be every day and trying to improve every single day. And, you know, knowing that, you know, you're in the gym right now and it kind of sucks because you had a 2-a-day yesterday, you're back in the gym the next day because, you know, you have to just go out there and gut it out. Takes a special kind of person to really enjoy the process, but, you know, the rewards are way so much are worth it. You know, the cons outweigh the cons, you know, every step of the way. You know, you might feel sore and tired, but, you know, after the workout you realize, oh, I put in the work. I really enjoy, you know, knowing that I put in the work, and then it makes it even sweeter when you go to competition, because you know you did as much as you could do to prepare for these competitions, and when you do well, you really enjoy the fruits of your labor.
This might be a bit of an obvious question, but why did you start fencing?
So obviously my father was a 3-time Olympian, and so ever since I was a kid, he had his old fencing stuff, foils, you know, his paraphernalia, the Olympic rings, his old trophies, and you know, from the very young age, I just grew a healthy obsession with the Olympics and fencing in particular. You know, I still remember. I think before I wanted to start fencing, I told my dad I wanted to, be an Olympian and then an Olympic champion on top of it. So when I was 5 years old, my dad started his own fencing club, and immediately I wanted to start right away. But my father actually told me to wait, and he actually wouldn't let me start fencing because he thought, 5 years old, you're too young, you can't hold the foil correctly yet, the fencing stuff can be a little too hot or uncomfortable for kids that age. Definitely don't have, can't understand right away just about yet, and also just, the attention span of a 5-year-old boy is probably less than that of a goldfish. So it's just, a little too young to start the sport. So I remember, there'd be days he'd take me into the fencing club before I started, and there were days I was there, I was super excited to go see the sport I wanted to be. I was on the sidelines watching footwork, watching fencing, really excited to watch the sport and be immersed in the sport I wanted to do eventually. But other days I'd be, pounding in the corner because my father wouldn't let me start. But once I hit 7 years old, it hit my birthday, my dad finally was like, here, here's your set of fencing stuff. I guess, you waited it out and it's time for you to start. So, the rest is history.